Welcome to the Full-Time FBA Show. In each episode, it's our goal to help you turn part-time hours into a full-time income selling almost anything on Amazon. And now, your hosts of the show, Stephen and Rebecca Smotherman.
Welcome to episode number 287 of the Full-Time FBA Show. Today, we're talking about creating momentum in your Amazon business for Q2 and beyond. And to talk with us today about this topic is my wife and co-host, Rebecca. What is up, Rebecca?
To Q2 and beyond. I just think of Buzz Lightyear.
Okay.
Infinity and beyond.
That's right. Yes. Well, we want to make sure we get some momentum going. So that's what we're going to talk about today on the Full-Time FBA Show.
As we're getting into things today, I want to make sure you're subscribed to our newsletter so you're getting all the info and news you need for your Amazon FBA business. We help sellers turn part-time hours into a full-time income with FBA, and you don't want to miss out on anything we send out. You can get signed up at fulltimefba.com/subscribe. So, Stephen, today we're talking about building momentum in Q2, or the second quarter of the year.
That's right.
And I think this is an exciting time of year for Amazon sellers, and here's why. You've got the newness of the year in Q1 behind you. You've established some new routines for the year. You likely set some goals at the beginning of the year for your business or for yourself personally, and you're 3 months into it. We're at the beginning of quarter 2, and we still have 3/4 of the year ahead of us. There's still abundant time to work at those goals, to find ways to work smart on those goals. It's just an exciting time to pause for a moment and see how things are going so far this year and where you want to take things next.
Yeah, that's right. And as you were saying it made me think there may be listeners to our show who didn't set goals at the beginning of the year. You might be listening today and didn't even have an Amazon business at the beginning of the year. You aren't at that point yet where you're looking back at how things have gone so far. Either way, if you started off the year with some experience or you're starting fresh right now, you are going to benefit from thinking through how to create momentum during the next 3 months so that your Amazon business is on the right track for the rest of 2025.
From an Amazon reseller standpoint, I think Q2 often gets overlooked. You know, Q4 is the golden era of every year for an Amazon seller. That's when everyone tends to see their biggest sales of the year. And then in Q1, like I said, there's all the excitement and freshness of the new year. You've got all that cash from Q4 sales that you're just itching to invest. And there's all this momentum that you carry with you through those first 3 months. Then there's Q3, which is basically viewed as the build-up to Q4. It's when everyone starts thinking through how to get stocked up for the big holiday sales. You're making sure you're ready for Black Friday, all of that. Plus, there's Prime Day in Q3, and that's always exciting and gets a lot of attention. But today I want to give Q2 a little love because in some ways it can really make or break the rest of your year selling on Amazon. Q2 can be a trendsetter for the rest of the year, or at least an indication of how the rest of the year will go. And again, a lot of this has to do with momentum and making the most of it when you've got it. So if you're coming into the second quarter with the momentum of having invested last year's Q4 profits into inventory, and you started 2025 off with a bang, and you've been reaping the benefits of that hard work, you want to keep that momentum going right now in Q2. You want to keep your foot on the gas. Don't back off on scouting for new inventory or buying as much as your inventory budget allows. You want to get the highest quality, fastest selling inventory possible and just keep sending it into the Amazon warehouses as soon as you can get it prepped, listed, and shipped. Keep your foot on the gas and feed the beast.
Feed that beast, baby. I mean, if you're working on building your profit snowball here, that snowball is all about momentum. And so you keep adding those profits back into your business in the form of investing in new inventory, and the snowball gets bigger and bigger throughout the year. And this is how you can work towards having your best Q4 at the end of 2025. If you start now, you've got several months to work towards that goal of growing your profits to the point where you have the biggest amount of capital to invest in inventory for Q4, when you're able to get the biggest bang for your buck as far as high prices and fast volume in sales on Amazon.
And if you're just getting started with your Amazon business, that's a different type of momentum that you have working for you. You have momentum too. You have the anticipation and excitement of building something new. You're learning lots of new info, and you can build on that freshness by taking action quickly. Get started today. Take an action step today. Don't let time work against you by putting things off and thinking it will be better to start later in the year, or by being down on yourself thinking I should have started last year. No, you should start right now. And if you're thinking, actually, I'm not learning enough info about how to start my business, we've got you covered. The Jumpstart Amazon course has everything you need to get your Amazon selling account opened, to learn how to source, to learn the basics of running your business. We highly recommend getting the course as a part of our coaching package, but if you're a DIYer, you can get the standalone course at fulltimefba.com/jumpstart.
Yeah, the main thing you want to avoid in Q2 is slowing down. Like even how I'm slowing down my sentence, it's hard to get ramped back up again. And like Rebecca said, keep your foot on the gas. Don't hit the brakes. In fact, slowing down, it's one of those things a lot of sellers face during the summer. So much, in fact, that it's often called the summer slowdown, because so many sellers see their sales come to a screeching halt. Now, there's often a nice bump in sales when it comes around Prime Day, which is nice. But Prime Day doesn't have to be a bump. You can actually have your biggest sales months of the year so far during the summer if you prepare for it correctly during Q2. And I highly recommend treating Prime Day like a practice run for Black Friday. Amazon just hasn't announced the dates yet for Prime Day, or actually it's Prime Days because it's usually multiple days. But if it follows the pattern of the previous years, it will be around mid-July, probably July 15th or 16th. And what that means for you now as an Amazon seller in mid-April is that you've got 3 months to get prepared for it. 3 months to learn everything you can about sourcing. 3 months to grow those profit snowballs by finding high-quality, fast-selling inventory and reinvesting those profits as quickly as possible. It is a marathon. It's not a sprint, so keep a good pace for the next 3 months so that you're going to be ready for Prime Day. Plus, you'll have your inventory built up to avoid the dreaded summer slowdown altogether.
This is a good time in the year also to look back at the inventory you've been selling over the last 3 months and see what's working for you and what's not. Look through your reports in Seller Central and see what info you can glean about your orders, your stock levels, your return rate. Where are areas that need improvement? Where are areas that you need to double down because you're getting great results? One thing we recommend is quarterly, if not monthly, looking at a couple of reports in Inventory Lab. Inventory Lab is a program we've been using for years, and it's now part of Seller 365. We wouldn't run our Amazon business without it. One of the things we get from it is the ability to run reports on our inventory and our sales by supplier or by category. And I love looking at these things regularly because it shows us which suppliers and which categories are working well for us and which ones get the majority of our sales, as opposed to which ones are lagging. And it just helps clarify where we should focus in our sourcing. We'll have the link for Inventory Lab for you in the show notes, but you can check it out at fulltimefba.com/inventory lab.
So how do you put all this information together? Like, what are you supposed to do in order to keep or gain momentum in Q2? So we're going to give you 3 action steps right now so that you'll have something practical to take away from today's episode. First, if you have goals for the year, review those goals up to the end of Q1 and see what kind of progress you're making. If you don't have any 2025 goals, either because you didn't set them or because you're just now starting your Amazon business, well, there is no better time than the present. Set some goals now. What is a reasonable sales goal based on the current amount of capital you have to invest? What is a reasonable goal for the amount of time that you want to spend on your Amazon business daily or weekly?
After you've done that first step, think about one small action you can take consistently that will move you towards your goal. Maybe it's setting a daily sourcing schedule or a weekly sourcing schedule, depending on whether you're working another job, whether it's a full-time or a part-time job. If FBA is your full-time job, you likely need a daily or at least every other day sourcing schedule. Or maybe you need to set a goal of taking daily steps toward opening your account and setting up your business. Whatever it is, write that task down. Write it on your planner, schedule it into your calendar. Do what it takes to make that small, consistent step a part of your regular routine so that it can compound over time. Spending 1 hour on sourcing today might not be a huge step in your business, but think about this. Spending 1 hour sourcing for 3 days a week for the next 3 months is 36 plus hours. How much inventory can you find in 36 plus hours of sourcing? A lot. Mm-hmm. I'm not even going to do the math because so many variables there. But working on that small, consistent step and bringing that into your schedule, just see where it takes you throughout Q2.
So your first action step is to evaluate your goals or set new goals for the year. And the second step is to establish one small, consistent step that you're going to take in your business over the next 3 months. And third, you're going to schedule a time sometime around the end of June, early July, to revisit everything that you've worked on. Literally schedule that time right now. Set a reminder on your phone or schedule it into your calendar for a specific date in late June, early July to review your goals and track your progress. Make it clear on your reminder exactly what you want to look at so you can check on your progress toward your goals. And you want to evaluate how you're doing with the action step you chose in step number 2. So if you chose to work 30 minutes setting up your Amazon business every night after dinner, well, what kind of progress have you made? If you chose to schedule regular sourcing time every day or every week, how much more inventory do you have now at the end of June compared to early April?
So those are your 3 steps. 1, set or review your goals. 2, choose an action step that you want to consistently take in your Amazon business over the next 3 months. And 3, set a calendar reminder to check on your progress at the end of Q2.
So if you're listening to this episode and you're thinking, these are helpful instructions, I need that kind of help in my business, not just right now at the beginning of Q2, but throughout the year. Well, we want to make sure that you know that right now, as this episode drops, you can sign up for our Year in FBA course. And that is one of the best ways to be prepared for what happens as an Amazon seller throughout the year. A Year in FBA has been helping Amazon sellers for over a decade now, and we've got a promo going on right now because we are actually getting ready to retire it. And we don't know if we'll be bringing it back in a new and improved version or if it's something that's run its course, but on April 15th, 2025, we are closing the doors to the Reseller's Guide to a Year in FBA course. And you need to stop what you're doing right now. Sign up to get access for the last year of its availability. And the course includes a month-by-month plan telling you throughout the year what you need to be doing on Amazon. So you get 12 months worth of PDFs, 12 video courses, you get a monthly live Q&A time with me all over the next year. And so you can plan it out for yourself what to do, what to focus on, and what to avoid. And you can check out the course for yourself, fulltimefba.com/year-in-FBA, and get signed up before midnight, April 15th. And if you're listening to this after April 15th of 2025 and you're sad because you missed this opportunity, well, then be sure you're signed up for our newsletter to make sure you get the best information about our courses and our coaching, everything that we have to offer. Again, you can go to fulltimefba.com/year-in-FBA to sign up for the last year of the course and the Q&As before it closes after April 15th.
Thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. As always, you can find the show notes and any links that were mentioned in this episode at fulltimefba.com/287 because we're on episode number 287.
And next week on the podcast, we're going to be answering the question, what is a good sales rank? I mean, usually when people are sourcing for inventory, they're like, okay, am I going to make money? Okay, good. Does it have a good sales rank? Well, what does that even mean? What's a good sales rank? We'll dive into that next week on the Full-Time FBA Show.
That's all for this episode of the Full-Time FBA Show. So head over to fulltimefba.com/podcast, where you'll find the show notes and links from this episode. While you're there, subscribe to our newsletter where you'll get several free downloads of our popular and helpful Amazon FBA resources. Now, take action on what you've learned today so you can find success at turning part-time hours into a full-time income with Amazon FBA.